Okay, so I think we'll go ahead and get started. Thanks everybody for joining us. Hello, welcome. Thank you for being with us today to learn more about this very exciting multi-year project called Enhancing School Mental Health Services. You'll be participating in this project over the next few years, and we're excited about that. We're happy to have you. This project is designed to enhance student mental health services and the related outcomes in your school and in schools and districts across the state. This project is sponsored by the New Jersey Department of Education, specifically the Division of Educational Services, and is supported by funding from the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, the Coronavirus State Fiscal Recovery Fund. As you all know, you've been selected to participate in this project, and I hope that you feel really good about that because we received many applications and we completed a thorough competitive evaluation process and selected schools based on need, readiness, and commitment with a consideration for representation across the state. We're excited to support you throughout this project to develop and implement a comprehensive school mental health system. As you're going to hear more about today, this comprehensive school mental health system is going to be designed to promote positive school climate, social emotional learning, overall well-being, and mental health supports and services. As part of this project, you'll receive assistance in conducting a formal assessment of your current system that will identify areas in which you are strong and doing lots of good work and areas that you might need to build up. You'll participate in intensive technical assistance and training. You'll connect with and receive support from a collaborative peer community here with your fellow program participants. You'll develop internal capacities to support sustainability over time, and you'll receive supports to review and potentially implement universal mental health screeners to help identify students who may need additional supports. Today, my colleagues will be sharing with you the purpose and goals of the project, discussing comprehensive school mental health training topics that'll be covered throughout this project. They'll be reviewing the roles and responsibility of all project participants, preparing you to support your school community to enhance their buy-in, and reviewing upcoming steps. Before we get to all of that, though, I want to take a moment and introduce myself and the Enhancing School Mental Health Services team. My name's Ann Murphy, and I'm the director of the Rutgers Center for Comprehensive School Mental Health. I'm also an associate professor in the Department of Psychiatric, Rehabilitation, and Counseling Professions at Rutgers School of Health Professions. This project is led by the amazing Christy Rowalski, who's our project manager. Christy has many years of experience supporting the implementation of school mental health initiatives and has an amazing ability to think at a systems level, which is really critical to facilitating a project like this one. In addition to Christy and I, the project is supported by Alicia Lukachko, Tania Leonard, and Stuart Luther, who are faculty and staff within the Rutgers Center for Comprehensive School Mental Health. They'll be leading trainings and delivering technical assistance and providing coaching supports throughout the project. Each of them brings expertise in comprehensive school mental health and have many years of experience working in schools, with schools, and at the state level to improve student and staff well-being and overall mental health outcomes. This project also receives administrative support from Ifra Akhtar, who you may receive emails from, and other communications, and who is critical to the work of this project. So I wanted to be sure to mention her here. And I also wanted to acknowledge our wonderful partners at the Department of Education and the Office of Student Support Services. Maurice Ingram is the DOE lead on this project. He wasn't able to be with us today, but I know he's very excited about this project and your participation in it. And with that, I will turn it over to Christy.
Thank you so much, Anne, and welcome to all of you. Congratulations again. As Anne mentioned, we have been planning for some time here, so we're so excited to be here with you all today and really just to have this amazing opportunity to support you with the development of your comprehensive school mental health framework. So to tell you a bit more about the Rutgers Center for Comprehensive School Mental Health, as mentioned, we're part of the Department of Psychiatric, Rehabilitation, and Counseling Professions in the Rutgers School of Health Professions. Rutgers Center for Comprehensive School Mental Health works with schools to really communicate the importance of school-based mental health supports, enhance the capacity of schools to recognize and identify mental health concerns in students, educate staff on the best models of school-based mental health supports and services, and to help schools really establish an infrastructure to support the implementation of these models. So our why, the foundation of this project, and really the work that we do, is driven by our shared desire to support the mental health and well-being of our youth and school communities across the state of New Jersey. And I'm sure, as you've heard in news reports and as many of you have been experiencing in your daily lives in your schools, our country is facing a mental health crisis, particularly among our children and adolescents. In August of 2022, Chalkbeat Newark actually reported an all-time high of mental health diagnosis for school-age children and an immediate need for schools to expand mental health supports. And that same month, Patch.com released a similar report just stating that depression and anxiety in New Jersey kids are becoming more common. And even according to a new analysis, New Jersey has fared better actually than most states, but depression and anxiety among our children still continues to rise. But what we know is that schools can and do play a critical role in supporting the mental health of our youth, and really continue to represent the most common entry point for youth to receive mental health services. Improved mental health in students is associated with higher social and academic success. Developing a strong comprehensive school mental health systems are really key, right, to supporting the social and emotional academic well-being of our students. And before we take a closer look at our statewide data, we've set a poll question to learn what are the most prevalent and common observations related to mental health that you've seen in your buildings within the last year. So Stuart, if we could launch that poll for folks, you should see a little screen that pops up with the question, and you should be able to select multiple responses. Again, the question is just, what are the most prevalent common observations related to mental health that you are seeing in your buildings or you've seen in your buildings within the last year? And thank you all so much for your participation. I see those responses coming in very quickly. So we'll just give folks a minute here. Give folks a minute to respond. And we'll share these results with you just in a second. All right, so let's go ahead and end the poll, Stuart, and share the results here. So you'll see, which I don't think is surprising at all, that everybody has basically agreed that they've seen an increase in challenging behaviors right within the last year. Also an increase in counselor referrals. We see here an uptick in school avoidance. Yes, and those are the things that we as well have been hearing from schools, you know, in terms of what they've been seeing in their observations related to mental health over the last school year. So now I'm going to just transition a little bit. So thank you first for just participating in the poll, but let's take a closer look at our statewide data. So we know in New Jersey, about 10.7% of children are struggling with a mental health disorder. That was reported in 2020. That was up from 7.6% in 2016. Similarly, on the national level, that number went from roughly 9% in 2016 to 12% in 2020. Among the 4 conditions studied, depression was the most common diagnosis among children ages 12 to 17, both in the emergency department and in inpatient settings. And the proportion of self-harm cases resulting in a hospital admission among adolescents ages 12 to 17 jumped 95% from 2019 to 2021. So New Jersey youth seeking hospital care for mental health diagnosis, such as depression, anxiety, self-harm, and even eating disorders, remains elevated well beyond pre-pandemic levels. So understanding the youth mental health crisis we're facing is also really important to highlight the significant shift in school-based mental health over the last few years. So moving from a reactive approach to a more proactive and preventative one. So traditionally, these services were often provided really in response to observable behavioral issues or crises within the school environment. However, contemporary approaches recognize the importance of addressing mental health needs before they escalate into more serious problems. So when we talk about traditional reactive approaches, this approach focuses really on addressing mental health issues after they have already manifested and behavioral problems or crises in the school setting. However, contemporary or preventative approaches emphasize early identification and intervention to help prevent the development of more serious mental health issues or crises. These mental health services are integrated into the school environment as part of a proactive approach. So by addressing mental health needs proactively, schools can help students develop the skills and resilience necessary for both personal well-being and academic success. So with that in mind, many of you might be familiar with the New Jersey Comprehensive School-Based Mental Health Resource Guide that was designed to provide schools with a roadmap to support the development and implementation of school-based mental health supports and services. Our center and this project are closely tied and can be viewed really as an extension of the guide. And it was published just over a year ago. So it was really the success of the guide coupled with a growing need for enhanced school mental health services for students that really gave rise to this project. And so the Enhancing School Mental Health Services project represents the next step following the development of the guide. The main objective of this project, as Anne had mentioned, is really to support the implementation of comprehensive school mental health systems by enhancing educators' knowledge and skills through training and technical assistance that we'll provide. And the later slides will provide more details of the exact components of the project. But first, we'd like to just take a moment to learn more about all of you and who is joining us today. So if you wouldn't mind, if you could drop your name and school district in the chat and why you're excited about this opportunity. So we'll give folks a minute to respond. But again, if you would be so kind to just drop your name, your school district, and why you're excited about this opportunity. And I see some of those responses coming in. Stuart, do you want to read some of those? Share some of those with the rest of the group?
Yeah. So we've got a handful of folks that have responded. We have, oh, my screen is jumping away from me. Will Grolick from Union County Educational Services Commission is mentioning that mental health supports are a huge priority for their district, have made hires accordingly, looking forward to maximizing effort or resources with the support. We have some interest in learning more about a tiered approach to supporting students. We have some excitement to further our work on addressing the whole child.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. I'm excited about partnering with others in this important work. Those partnerships are key. Great opportunity to work with mental health experts outside of the district and county to help serve our students. This increased need for mental health services in all of our schools, looking for ways to approach that. And this is looking to proactively help children at the elementary level. Really love to see that proactive approach and seeing how to develop the MTSS in the mental health realm.
Mm-hmm.
Already hearing a lot of really great
our favorite buzzwords.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. That's what we love to hear. So thank you all for taking a moment to drop that information in the chat. Again, you know, we've mentioned several times that we're obviously excited about this opportunity. I think it really presents an amazing, an amazing opportunity just for you all to collaborate with each other as well. And so now I'm going to just turn it over to my colleague, Alicia Lukashko. She's going to spend some time talking about the Comprehensive School Mental Health Framework. Alicia?
Thank you, Christy. So we're going to, as Christy said, take some time to look a little deeper at the components of a comprehensive school mental health system. So what is comprehensive school mental health and a comprehensive school mental health system? So comprehensive school mental health systems provide a full array of tiered supports and services that promote a positive school climate, social and emotional learning, and mental health and well-being while reducing the prevalence and severity of mental illness and substance use. And as we know from several studies, there's strong evidence to show that strong and effective comprehensive school mental health systems, they have a number of positive benefits, including greater academic success, reduced exclusionary discipline practices, reduced special education referrals and placement in restrictive settings, improve school climate and safety, enhance student engagement, social, emotional, and behavioral function, and higher graduation rates. So there are 8 core features of comprehensive school mental health systems. And as we're reviewing these components, I want you to take some time and think about what might be in place in your own schools or are some priority areas for development in your schools. So to begin, comprehensive school mental health systems depend on well-trained school and district professionals, educators who are equipped with strong skills, social and emotional skills, and a good understanding of mental health literacy. Effective family engagement and community partnerships are also central to supporting academic and social outcomes for students. Comprehensive school mental health systems incorporate a full array of tiered evidence-based processes, policies, and practices called the multi-tiered system of supports framework, or MTSS. And systematic needs assessment and resource mapping are also critical. Systematic needs assessments are conducted on a regular basis to identify student and staff priority areas and strengths, and resource mapping of school and community assets is also a key part of this process to inform decisions about available supports and services. And we come to mental health screening and referrals, and those are really critical to help identify students' needs early in the process and connect students with appropriate services and supports. Comprehensive school mental health systems also implement evidence-based practices and emerging best practices to help ensure that there's the highest quality of supports and services that are provided to students. And last but not least, funding opportunities from federal, state, and local sources can help to ensure sustainability of comprehensive school mental health systems. So we're not going to have time to go through all of these components in detail, but we do want to take a moment to focus more specifically on the MTSS framework, which is really a cornerstone of this work. So the multi-tiered system of supports framework, it's a dominant framework in the field of school mental health, and many of you may already be aware and familiar with MTSS. The framework emerged from work conducted in public health, emphasizing 3 tiers of prevention and representing a continuum of preventive and intervention services designed to address the diverse and academic needs of all students. As shown here, there are 3 tiers, and the 3 tiers represent universal or tier 1 secondary or tier 2 and tertiary or tier 3 interventions. In responding to a full range of needs, these interventions are layered. So they're layered from universal approach serving all students and to which most students respond, to more specific and targeted interventions. And these interventions are designed for a smaller percentage of higher need students. So starting at tier 1, these universal or primary prevention efforts are designed again for all students and include staff. And these involve strengthening social, emotional, and behavioral skills primarily. Some examples include universal screening, consistent discipline policies and procedures, social emotional learning, suicide prevention, and positive school culture and climate. Then we have tier 2 or secondary or selective prevention efforts. And these are designed for students who may not respond to universal supports alone and are at risk for developing more significant mental health concerns. And some examples include small group interventions, mentoring, classroom-based supports, and brief individualized strategies, such as small psychoeducational groups, problem-solving training, or social skills training. And finally, we have tier 3, which is tertiary or the intensive intervention efforts. And these are designed to address the individualized needs of a even smaller percentage of students who don't respond alone to primary or secondary supports, and they'll need more intensive individualized supports. Examples are things like individual, group, or family therapy that may be offered through the school, crisis counseling, individual social skills instruction, and collaboration with community service providers. So with this tiered system and by addressing student needs at different levels, MTSS supports a diverse range of learners. As mentioned, interventions are layered and designed to enable approximately 80% of all students to be successful in a given domain with tier 1 or universal supports alone. Roughly 15% of all students with tier 1 and tier 2 together or targeted supports, and about 5% of students, all students utilizing tier 1, tier 2, and added tier 3 or more intensive supports. So this framework is really designed to provide timely interventions and prevent the need for more intensive services later on. And it's important to note that as students progress, they can move between tiers and depending on their changing needs and levels of success. So I'd like to take a moment here to highlight the New Jersey tiered system of supports, which, as you may know, also uses an MTSS framework and response to intervention principles to organize a continuum of academic and behavioral supports to promote student achievement. This integrated model builds on a foundation of positive school culture and climate, district and school leadership, and family and community engagement, as depicted here in the image. And database decision-making is also incorporated into the intervention and referral services or NRS process to match student needs with appropriate supports. And now MTSS at a glance. This side-by-side can be helpful in clarifying what MTSS is and then what it is not. And as we reviewed, MTSS is a framework that many schools use to provide targeted supports to struggling students. The goal is to intervene early to prevent more serious problems from developing later. It screens all students and aims to address academic and behavioral challenges. But MTSS is not a prepackaged curriculum or program. It's not just for the purposes of identifying the need for special education. It doesn't take the place of response to intervention. It's not isolated to academics and behavior. And it's also not the job of a few specialists, but then instead a team of invested stakeholders, including administrators, school mental health professionals, instructional leads, community partners and family members, and even students. So we'd like to take a moment as well just to mention the interconnected systems framework. This framework can be especially helpful in providing guidance on the interconnection or alignment of school mental health and other school-based initiatives or programs, for example, social emotional learning, school climate and culture, and positive behavioral interventions and supports. This approach is well established and rooted as well in core features of MTSS, integrating complementary academic and behavioral and social emotional initiatives across all tiers. An important piece of the work that we do here with the project and that we'll do together involves alignment, aligning the programming that is already taking place in your schools or programming that you're intending to implement, and in a way that allows for greater efficiency and program effectiveness. It's important to remember, as this slide depicts, that developing and implementing a comprehensive school mental health system takes time. And typically it takes 5 years, and it also occurs across multiple stages. Your schools may be in different phases of this process, and this process also is not always a linear one. And we want to reassure you that this is okay. Our goal and the goal of the Enhancing School Mental Health Services project is to provide your schools with the trainings and technical assistance to support your implementation efforts really wherever they are. Okay, so now we're going to move to spotlighting the journey of ABC School and their development of a comprehensive school mental health system. And as I'm sharing this story in the vignette that I'm going to do in just a moment, I'd like you to think about how their journey might compare to yours, and also try to identify those core features of comprehensive school mental health systems that we discussed. Now, if you'd like to read along, a link to the vignette will be dropped in the chat. If you wouldn't mind doing that, Stuart, that would be great. And now let's move on to ABC's journey. So ABC Elementary School in Northern New Jersey serves students in grades K through 8. ABC currently has 800 students enrolled with a diverse student population. District and staff and administration have decided to take a proactive approach to address student and staff mental health and wellness by implementing a comprehensive school mental health framework that offers evidence-based therapeutic and wellness services. Services include the following: social emotional learning, parent family, community services, counseling, and psychological services. ABC's principal, Dr. Alphabet, created a comprehensive school mental health team that utilized the expertise of the school's existing mental health professionals, teachers, and community members. The team meets once a month to conduct a school-wide needs assessment, including resource mapping and implementing the strengths and difficulties questionnaire to identify high-risk students who are at risk for internalizing and externalizing problems. The team decided to start on a small scale, focusing on students in the 5th grade, and a letter was sent to inform teachers and parents of a week-long screening during first period of homeroom. The team is also responsible for evaluating their comprehensive school mental health system, aligning student services, using data, fostering school partnerships, and receiving school mental health training. Within a very short period of time, district and school leaders have made a substantial impact. During the school mental health teaming process, the team established a key goal for the school year, the upcoming school year, and that is to increase student tier 2 interventions and improve community and mental health supports. So thinking about the ABC school journey and also thinking about what we've learned about comprehensive school mental health and its core components, I'd like you to add to the chat some of the highlights of this journey. So what are some highlights and some of the core features of comprehensive school mental health that stood out to everyone? And again, please feel free to add these to the chat. I'll give you a few minutes. What did you notice? And Stuart, if you wouldn't mind, if any of those comments come in, I'd appreciate your sharing things.
Yes, of course. We have a collaborative approach of stakeholders. Starting small.
Yes.
implementation of a screener, and again, starting small and building out.
Focusing on that process. Thank you.
Oh, and review of data from the screener as a team. I see a couple of different components there, both the use of data and also kind of that work as in that team approach. Regular meetings, monitoring progress, and again, starting small. A sequential process.
I love that there's a, focus and an understanding of the piece of starting small, starting with a pilot and building out, and recognition that it's a process. So just to reiterate some of the highlights, the school did take a proactive approach in implementing comprehensive school mental health. The team had a diverse representation and included members from the community. There was a school-wide needs assessment, including resource mapping. And also there was an implementation of a universal screener that was noted, and the development of goal towards development of the intervention referral pathways, really with a focus on tier 2 and also tier 3. So thank you so much for your comments. What I'd like to do now, or we'd like to do now, is focus on your schools. And we're gonna launch a poll here in just a moment, thinking about the priority areas that you all might have in developing your own comprehensive school mental health systems. And the question that's going to be launched here is, what features of comprehensive school mental health do you feel are priority areas for your school to develop and implement? Great. So we're going to take a few minutes, here are a few moments to respond to this question, the poll that just launched. And here some responses are coming in. So here, what features of comprehensive school mental health you previously or currently implementing, or are priority areas? So we have community partnerships, which seem to be getting the most responses right now. School mental health training for staff, it's excellent. Universal screeners and teaming, big pieces of that. And we have database decision-making there, excellent. And these are all components and issues that we will be working on this project towards training and building with your schools. So thank you so much for all of your participation. I'm going to turn now to Tania, and she's going to discuss some of the components of the project.
Thank you so much, Alicia. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about, take a deeper dive into the components of the Enhancing School Mental Health Services project. So again, the project is sponsored by the New Jersey Department of Ed in collaboration with Rutgers Center for Comprehensive School Mental Health. And it has 3 main objectives. So the objectives are to support the development and implementation of a comprehensive school mental health framework for 50 selected schools through intensive training and technical assistance. We are hoping to establish school district or building level capacity and sustainability within this cohort of schools through what's called the School Mental Health Leadership Academy, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a few minutes. And we're going to provide statewide trainings to New Jersey educators and school mental health professionals. So this graphic depicts the main project components, statewide training and comprehensive school mental health and technical assistance, and the School Mental Health Leadership Academy for the 50 selected schools. So and I'll describe those things in more detail in a moment. Okay, so let's start talking about the School Mental Health Leadership Academy. So this component will involve the identification and participation of 2 school mental health leads within a school. And the idea is that the mental health leads will champion the implementation of comprehensive school-based mental health. They will lead a comprehensive school mental health team, and they'll facilitate regular comprehensive school mental health team meetings all with the support of our team over the course of the entire project. Through the Leadership Academy, the school mental health leads will receive intensive in-person training on key components of comprehensive school mental health. They'll receive individualized coaching and an opportunity to learn and collaborate with other schools and districts who participate in the program. When we take a look at who our targeted audience is, our audience is schools and district leaderships and school mental health teams. The project will assist with adopting and implementing a systems approach to mental health supports. It'll increase long-term sustainability and align your efforts and maximize your resources. The project will not provide direct support to students or provide individual or school training or replace any of the existing hubs or existing mental health providers in or community partnerships that you already have in your buildings. There are so many benefits that schools will receive in taking part in this program, and we want to highlight a few of them. So schools will receive assistance with conducting a formal assessment of your current comprehensive school mental health systems. We'll identify areas of strength and create an action plan for improvement and growth. Participants will receive cost-free intensive technical assistance and training, both in a group format and with other schools, and individualized to meet the unique needs of your school and your school teams. You'll gain access to a collaborative peer community, and we'll build internal capacity and expertise, and you'll receive assistance in administering the school mental health screeners to identify student strengths and needs. This brings us to our intensive training and technical assistance and coaching support. So each school will be assigned a single consultant, but the coaching process is informed by the Center for Comprehensive School Mental Health as a whole. So individual consultants will meet virtually with your school mental health leads and your comprehensive school mental health teams about 6 to 8 times a year, or roughly monthly, to support the implementation of student mental health supports. Training and technical assistance supports will address an array of topics related to comprehensive school mental health, including school assessment and action planning, mental health promotion, early intervention services, risk assessment and suicide prevention and intervention, and alignment of student services, including a data-driven process. Comprehensive school mental health team members will also receive group trainings with a full cohort of schools participating in the project. And we will talk about core components of comprehensive school mental health and the MTSS framework. We'll provide some group trainings on the foundations of comprehensive school mental health, and they will include topics such as an introduction to comprehensive school mental health and the MTSS framework. We're going to do some like 101 coursework for folks. Effective teaming and cross-collaboration. We'll focus on needs assessments and universal screening and resource mapping for your school population. We'll work on database decision-making. And again, we'll talk about risk assessment, substance abuse, and suicide screening, strategies for effective school mental health coaching, strategies for sustaining funding and for comprehensive school mental health programming. And we will also elevate student voice in the context of school mental health. In the next few slides, we thought it would be helpful to kind of run through the primary responsibilities of each of the key players. So here we'll start with the school mental health leads, and they will be responsible for championing project initiatives, leading the comprehensive school mental health team, which we talked about earlier, spearheading the needs assessment and completion of action plan items, facilitating regular comprehensive school team meetings, attending a full or half-day training events annually as part of the school mental health, as a school mental health leadership academy. We're asking that they will engage in virtual technical assistance sessions with added coaches support provided by a Rutgers consultant. And in the final stage of the project, we're asking that the leads participate in a community roundtable with other schools. Then there's the comprehensive school mental health team, whose responsibilities include contributing to the implementation of comprehensive school-based mental health within an MTSS framework, serving as a member of the comprehensive school mental health team and attending regular team meetings, assisting with the needs assessment and progress towards completion of action planning items, and attending a total of 7 full or half-day trainings events across the span of the entire program. School staff also play a role, and we are asking that they continue to provide quality core instruction and classroom management techniques with fidelity, that they're able to identify students that aren't making adequate progress, collaborate with the team to determine interventions for targeted students, and complete all necessary data collection and screening methods and input forms, and to ensure that students are receiving interventions with fidelity from assigned personnel. And last but not least, we have our principals and school administrator responsibilities, which include leading and actively supporting the implementation of a comprehensive school-based mental health system within schools, attending administrative information sessions like this one, project orientation and closing events, identifying school mental health leads and assembling the team, and also serving as an active team member. We're asking that you assist with providing release time for school mental health leads and the assigned team members to participate in offsite training and training activities, and that you also help provide the school mental health leads with flexible time in addition to time for team meetings and professional development activities to fulfill their role, and that you establish an expectation for all staff to consistently implement the comprehensive school mental health features and prevention practices. And that leads us to a little chat about buy-in. So support and buy-in from administrators really affects how bought in other school stakeholders can be. And principals may choose to support a project when the initiative improves their organization in a vital way. Buy-in is essential in various contexts, such as organizations, teams, educational institutions, and community initiatives. It helps foster a sense of ownership and collective responsibility. It leads to smoother implementation of projects or programs. It leads to higher levels of engagement and better outcomes for projects. Achieving buy-in involves effective communication, transparent decision-making, demonstrating the benefits of the initiative, and addressing any concerns or doubts that stakeholders may have. Overall, buy-in is a key factor in driving successful initiatives. It ensures that all stakeholders are on board, aligned, and working together towards a common goal. Staff buy-in also plays a critical role in the success of any initiative. When staff members are engaged and committed to the success of a project or initiative, they're more likely to openly communicate their experiences, share any challenges and suggestions for improvement. This two-way communication benefits the overall process in several ways, but their familiarity with the day-to-day operations makes their input highly relevant and extremely practical. So we are going to ask that each school team plan to introduce this project to their school community. The expectation is for school mental health leads and administrators to present a similar information to what's being provided here today. We will provide your teams with the presentation content and review it with you guys in advance. And our desire is for all schools to have been oriented to the project by December. In addition to delivering the presentation to your school community, we ask that you also poll your staff for buy-in. Because buy-in starts with your team, it's critical to foster open communication and to identify potential pockets of resistance, as early as possible. This allows leaders to proactively address concerns and misconceptions so that we can move forward with success. We are here to support you, so we'll provide you with the presentation materials and review them prior to delivery. And now I'm going to pass it off to Stuart, and he's going to talk a little bit about the timelines and expectations for the project as a whole.
Yes. So hello, everyone. My name is Stuart. I'm one of your senior training and consultation specialists here at Rutgers Center for Comprehensive School Mental Health. Just a quick congratulations again to all of you for your acceptance into the project. I know that we've given you a lot of information today, and there's kind of been some you're probably looking for a little bit of a timeline, which that's what I'm going to provide for you for over the next about 2.5 years for the project. And then we'll also talk about an introduction to a few of the more immediate next steps that you all can start thinking about. So we'll start here with this timeline that you see on your screen with this school year. I'm sure that it's coming up a lot more quickly than any of us would really like, as we're kind of looking out to about a couple weeks now, I know. And here we are in August with the beginning of our project with our principal welcome session. Here we are. We have officially kicked it off. We're looking out to the next 2.5 years for this amazing work that we're all going to do together. In September and the beginning of October, we'll do the same with our school mental health leads with their program orientation. And then later this fall, we'll also launch the School Mental Health Leadership Academy that Tania just discussed. And that'll be 2 trainings, one in October and one in December. And then starting with the new year in January 2024 through May, we'll be conducting 3 full team trainings. And this is going to be with that full school mental health team that you'll work to organize with your school mental health leads. This will also include those school mental health leads, and at those same trainings, they'll receive some differentiated trainings throughout the day as a part of that leadership academy. Then throughout the course of this upcoming school year, we'll also be offering the individualized technical assistance and coaching sessions on a monthly basis. And that's going to be between your Rutgers consultant and your school mental health leads and teams. And this is really to kind of give a chance to work individually to support any unique challenges that your team and school might experience. Finally, starting and ending the 2023-2024 school year, we'll be conducting an assessment of your school's mental health services and supports. And we'll do this using the SHAPE system, which some of you may be familiar with. And if not, that's okay. I'm going to be talking about that a little bit here in a few minutes. And through that, we'll work with the school mental health leads as well as the team through this assessment twice a year for each of the year we're going to be working together. And this is going to really inform the planning and track progress towards really developing out your school's comprehensive school mental health system. And you'll also might notice here coming up this fall are some key informant interviews. And don't worry about that too much right now. I'll talk about that in a minute as well. And now as we enter into the next school year, 2024-2025, I know we're probably thinking, I cannot even think about that school year as we're just entering into this upcoming school year. But just to kind of give you a little bit of what to expect, we'll continue out those comprehensive school mental health trainings for the leads as well as the larger teams. And those trainings will conclude in June with project wrap up and a celebration. And then throughout next year, we'll also continue those individualized monthly TA, that technical assistance and coaching supports with your leads and your teams. And as we start to wind down the project at the beginning of the 2025-2026 school year, we'll start preparing schools for those next steps in their continued progress towards developing robust, comprehensive school mental health systems, and very importantly, the sustainability of those programs as well. And during this time, we'll be offering a School Mental Health Leadership Academy community roundtable, which is really an opportunity to foster group reflection and dialogue over this experience that you've had over the last 2.5 years. And during this time, we'll also be fading out that virtual TA and individualized school mental health coaching. as well as conducting our final shape assessment and taking time to really reflect on the progress that we've made, as well as starting to work on a roadmap for next steps for that continued implementation and success for our comprehensive school mental health programs in your schools. So I just want to pause for a second because I know that looking this far in advance, it may feel like a lot, but we as your supporters will be with you every step of the way, making sure that you have access to whatever support that it is that you need to help make this as seamless as a process as possible for you all. Now, as we go to this next slide, I want to walk you through a couple of components that were included in the timeline that you're probably thinking, well, I want to know a little bit more about that, Stuart. So starting off with the first, one of the first aspects that we're going to start implementing this fall are the key informant interviews. And the purpose of these key informant interviews is to really determine what components of a comprehensive school mental health program exist at your school already, as well as which components of programming we can best support you with through this project. Essentially, this is an opportunity for us to learn how we can best support you in your school. This fall, your Rutgers consultant will work with you to conduct a set of key informant interviews. The process will include 1 hour and a 1 hour interview with you all as the administrators or whatever administrator you indicate. A 90-minute interview with key project school staff, which this will be, your school mental health teams. And it will include 15 strategic planning questions that will help us assess all of these topics here that you see on your screen: school readiness, climate culture, existing programming, and any anticipated barriers that we want to get ahead of. And of course, this is also a really wonderful opportunity for us to get to meet you, your staff, and really begin developing out that positive working relationship. Now, I'll introduce you to the SHAPE system. So the SHAPE system stands for the School Health Assessment and Performance Evaluation System. And this was developed by the National Center for School Mental Health at the University of Maryland School of Medicine. Some of you may be familiar with this, but it is a public access web-based platform that really offers a workspace for schools to identify, assess their programs and identify targeted resources to really support that continuous quality improvement and advance high-quality school mental health systems. For our purposes in this project, we'll be primarily utilizing the School Mental Health Quality Assessment, which is a standardized school mental health performance measure that I'll talk more about in a moment, but it also has a really wonderful and robust resource library that's filled with really helpful resources that we'll be utilizing throughout this process, but they're also accessible to you and your school teams. So in the previous slide, I mentioned the School Mental Health Quality Assessment, and this is really an assessment that allows schools to assess their current programs and the progress of comprehensive school mental health quality at the school and district level on 7 domains. And those domains are listed here on the screen. I won't go into too much detail onto those, but you have them there. The assessment is completed by your team 1 domain at a time, and each domain contains about 6 to 10 questions. I'll be upfront with you. The assessment can be quite lengthy, though it is a really wonderful way to assess your programming and track progress. We estimate around 2 to 2.5 hours for the completion of the full assessment as a team. And considering that, we suggest dividing it up across 2 separate meetings or more if needed, especially if it's the first time that you're utilizing the assessment and still getting used to it. The worksheet on the right, I wanted to share this with you all as it highlights some of the key domains and indicators that are a part of the quality assessment. And each domain and indicator have their own specific resources that can be utilized to help support their development. And now I'm showing you this on the screen. We can go back one slide. So this is the report that you'll receive once you complete one of the domains through the quality assessment. And as you can see, it gives you a nice summary of kind of where you're at with implementation of that domain, but it also separates out those scores for each of the different indicators within the domain. So you can really have some targeted perspective on where you want to focus some of your goals on. And as I mentioned, we'll complete the first SHAPE assessment with the school mental health leads in October through December. And we'll talk more about this with the school mental health leads at the kickoff next month. And finally, as we start to wrap up, again, I know you've received a lot of information in today's session, so we wanted to just briefly review some of the next steps that we've discussed. So first, if you've not already, we ask that you identify 2 school mental health leads, keeping in mind that 1 lead is expected to be a school mental health staff person. You'll provide these names in the survey that we'll share with you before we let go of you today. We also recommend that within the next month or so, begin to identify the staff persons that will be members of the team and communicate this with your leads. As a reminder, we'll hold the school mental health leads kickoff sessions next month and at the beginning of October. Those school mental health leads will receive communication directly about the kickoff date to which they've been assigned. Also, just a reminder, in the following survey that you'll receive today, just indicate your top 2 choices for a day and time in October or November that you would prefer to meet with your Rutgers consultant to complete that 1-hour administrator portion for the key informant interview. We also ask that you provide the time for your school mental health team members to complete the SHAPE assessment with your Rutgers consultant upcoming this fall, as well as those key informant interviews. Next, we have the buy-in presentation that Tania mentioned. We're hoping that can be delivered by December 8th. As a reminder, we'll discuss this as well with the leads and provide that presentation for you. Finally, within the next week, you'll receive an assurance document outlining the commitments for the project that we ask that you sign. This shouldn't be any big surprises. It really just reflects what you signed when you submitted the application for the project. It'll be shared with you via DocuSign. So once you receive it, you can review it and sign it, and it will be returned automatically to us. You don't need to, download and send it back to us. We'll automatically get that. If you don't receive it within the next week or so, just reach out to us and let us know, and we'll make sure that you get it. And with all of these tasks and any of the resources or anything that we've provided for you, please don't hesitate to reach out or ask questions. We want to make this as seamless as a process for you as possible. And that's why we're here. We're here to help you throughout this process. Now I'm going to turn it over to Christy to close us out and share the training survey today. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Stuart. So before we dismiss today's session, would you open the training survey by either scanning the QR code with your smartphone or by clicking the link that'll be dropped into the chat? This survey just asks key information regarding your contact and your training preferences, as well as information about your school mental health team members. So we just ask if you could try to complete this survey as soon as possible. We'll also follow up with an email after today's session that will include the PowerPoint presentation as well as the survey link. And right now, what we'll do is we'll actually open it up for questions. But Alicia, could you actually go to the last slide that has our contact information? Because I think that's really important for folks just to make sure that you have that today. So again, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to join us and for your commitment to improving school mental health supports in your buildings. The Rutgers team is looking forward to partnering with you all. In the next few weeks, you'll receive an email that provides the name and contact information of your assigned Rutgers consultant. Your Rutgers consultant will be your primary contact throughout the course of the project. In the meantime, though, should you have any questions, please feel free to contact us using the email that you see on the screen there or the telephone number. Again, as Stuart mentioned, we are here to support you every step of the way throughout the course of the project. So please don't hesitate to reach out.